January 2025. A classified briefing inside a windowless room in Langley, Virginia. 6 agents. No phones. One projector. On the screen, a map. Central America lit with red points. Each point marked a failed operation. Each time-stamped. Each tied to a leak. In the center of the map, they drew a circle. Honduras. Then they zoomed in and found a village. Population 43. Known for nothing. But every night, one man stood by the dock. Same hoodie. Same posture. Same ritual. He stared at the water. Never spoke. Never fished. Just waited. A drone captured his silhouette. And when the image was enhanced, his left sleeve appeared torn. Exactly where Tyrone had injured his arm in 2022 when he tackled a driver during a rogue landfill shipment. But there was no arrest. No raid. Just surveillance. Quiet. Careful. They didn't want to catch him. Not yet. They wanted to see who came to him. That decision changed everything. 3 nights later, a white van arrived at the dock. 2 men got out. Both wore masks, but the drone picked up their voices. Spanish. One said, "It's ready." The other replied, "Then we move tomorrow." Phase 2. The man in the hoodie didn't speak. He just nodded, then walked away. He disappeared into the trees. When authorities returned the next morning, the village was gone. No people, no buildings, no dock, just ashes. Burned down, erased, and in the center of the clearing, a metal trash bin. Inside, one item, a memory card. The card was encrypted, but the title was readable, cycle_complete. It took weeks to decrypt. When it opened, they found 117 files, each one a contract, each showing how major U.S. cities were funneling sanitation funds through shell companies tied to offshore accounts. The totals were staggering. $2.4 billion in untraceable transfers. 9 mayors, 27 council members, 3 senators. It wasn't just about drugs anymore. It was blackmail, global, organized, systemic. And Tyrone had the receipts. One photo showed a boardroom in D.C., a private lunch, a deal being signed. But in the far reflection of a window, there he was. Tyrone, holding a camera. Again, always watching, always one step ahead. Then came the letter, not to the government, not to the press, to the daughter of a sanitation worker in Illinois. Her father had gone missing in 2021 after reporting unusual waste rerouting. He was presumed dead, but in Tyrone's letter, there was a photo. Her father, smiling, alive, standing on a fishing boat off the coast of Ecuador. The note read, "He told the truth. I protected him. Tell your mother he's safe." She never shared the letter publicly, but the image leaked. Tyrone wasn't just dismantling corruption. He was rescuing those who got caught in it. February 2025. The FBI found something unexpected. A bank account. Offshore. Frozen. The name attached, T. Ellis. But it only had one transaction. A wire transfer to a foundation. The Janitor Fund. Its mission: protect whistleblowers in developing countries, create legal safe zones, and fund independent journalism. No trace of the money's source. No clue who opened the fund. But one video appeared days later on its website. A dark screen. A distorted voice. No face. Just these words. "I used to clean the streets. Now I clean the systems." We all deserve a world that doesn't bury the truth under plastic and profit. Stay loud. Stay hidden. Stay moving. Then the screen cut to black. A single line at the bottom. For Tyrone. Not by him. For him. Someone else was carrying on his work. Or maybe many people were. April 2025. In Amsterdam, a tech journalist received an anonymous file. It contained internal emails from a multinational waste management company. Subject line, Echo Dust, Collapse Protocol. Inside, executives discussed terminating 5 employees who had unauthorized access to Ellis Loop. Ellis Loop, a nickname for a system of garbage routing scripts Tyrone allegedly created to trace money inside fake shipments. They were still trying to shut it down, still failing. And the journalist who received the file? He vanished a week later, last seen boarding a ferry. His phone pinged 600 miles away. Then silence. But just before he disappeared, he posted a draft article. Its headline, "The Man Who Made Trash Dangerous." He wasn't wrong, because by now, Ellis had become a myth, a movement. Cities were rewriting waste contracts. Governments were investigating infrastructure budgets. And in cartel circles, the name T was spoken like a curse or a warning. Then, in June 2025, a flash drive was delivered to the UN. It was inside a toy truck. No return address, no note. But inside the truck's tiny compartment, the drive had been sealed in resin. Someone wanted it to survive. When decrypted, it played one thing. A video. Grainy. Night vision. A garbage truck pulling up to a transfer station in Honduras. But as the truck backs up, 5 men climb out. Tactical gear. Silencers. They move fast. Into the building. No words. Just precision. Minutes later, flames erupt from the roof. The building collapses. The men reappear. And the last frame shows one of them giving a thumbs up to the camera. His face covered. But on his wrist, a familiar watch. Tyrone's watch. He was still alive. Still operating. Still burning the pipeline from the inside. The UN never released the footage. But insiders leaked it anyway. And in the comment section of every platform that posted it, one sentence kept appearing. The garbage man cleaned house. Then something else happened. Unexplainable. Across 6 cities in the U.S., 7 massive shipments were stopped in 1 week. All untraceable. All silent tips. All leading to arrests. In each case, an object was left at the scene. A small white coin, with 1 letter engraved. The authorities don't know what it means. But to those watching it was clear. Ellis Echo. Endgame. The garbage man had started a war. Not with weapons, but with data, strategy, precision. He had cracked the code of modern corruption, and now it was cracking back. Because when trash gets too heavy, someone has to take it out. And he did. Alone. Unarmed. Unseen. Until now. Tyrone Ellis may never be caught. He may never come home. But one thing is certain. He changed everything. 1 bag. 1 route. 1 secret at a time. July 2025. A new city. New name. New system. In Johannesburg, South Africa, a customs inspector flagged an incoming shipment from Mexico labeled recycled plastics. The paperwork was perfect. The weight matched. The crates were sealed. But the inspector had a gut feeling. She opened the first crate. Trash. Real trash. Nothing hidden. But inside one of the crushed soda bottles, a slip of paper. Laminated. Tucked into the curve. Printed in bold type. Check the heat. She scanned the contents with a thermal lens. Hidden under the trash, 4 panels of lead sheeting. And behind those panels, dozens of microchips. Custom built. Worth millions. Smuggled in like garbage. But here's the part that froze her. On the back of the paper, scribbled in red marker. They're using Africa as a test zone. Don't let them. No name. No prints. But in the corner, drawn with a pen, 3 lines and a circle. The same symbol left on a coin found during the Honduras raid. The mark of Tyrone Ellis, or someone continuing his work. Days later, a second shipment was intercepted, this time in Lagos. Same setup, same chips, same trash, and hidden in the lining of a food wrapper, another note. If it hits Nairobi, it's over. Nobody understood what that meant. But the chips were traced to a shell company based in the Cayman Islands. When authorities tried to access the company registry, it was already deleted, wiped from the server 16 minutes before the request. Whoever was behind it was watching in real time. Then came the footage from inside a waste sorting facility in Nairobi. A CCTV clip, motion detected at 3:14 a.m. A hooded figure, same build, same posture. He walks to a bin labeled unidentified tech waste, pulls out one object, a drive, plugs it into a laptop, waits, and then security lights flash. He shuts the laptop, tosses the drive into a separate bin labeled burn, and walks out. Before anyone arrives, the whole bin self-ignites. The drive melts, but the footage remains. Frozen on the moment, he looked up. His face was blurred. Intentionally. The resolution dropped only during that 2-second frame. Whoever edited it had access. Global access. Later, analysts found something hidden in the footage metadata, a string of code. When decoded, it spelled out coordinates. Back to Honduras. Same clearing. But now, satellite scans showed something different. A structure. Underground. Camouflaged. Built into the hillside. The roof made of mixed debris. Concrete. Steel. Old truck parts. It looked like garbage. But the heat signature suggested something active. Moving. Alive. A team was sent in. By the time they arrived, it was gone. Just like the village. Just like the man. But left behind another bin. Same style. Same seal. Inside, one thing. A broken GPS collar. The kind used for off-grid wildlife tracking. But this one was different. It had been reprogrammed to ping every 33 hours. And when reverse engineered, they found it had last pinged from Antarctica. No explanation. No registered flights. No weather clearance. Nothing. But 4 days later, the same collar pinged again. This time, Greenland. Then Patagonia. Then Nepal. Each location, remote. Hostile. Off the grid. And at each site, hours after the ping, local officials found abandoned crates. Filled with surveillance drives. Each one holding weeks of footage from major waste centers in their country. No logos. No demands. Just data. Proof. Evidence. Tyrone was doing what no agency could, tracking the spread of digital smuggling and exposing it, country by country, low by load. Then came the broadcast. August 2025. A pirate radio signal broke into frequencies across Brazil, Nigeria, Thailand, and parts of the U.S. The message was simple, a distorted voice, a low hum behind it. Then, they're not hiding drugs anymore. They're hiding networks, entire command systems, inside the waste, inside the infrastructure. Stop chasing the dealers. Start checking the dumpsters. Then static. Authorities traced the signal to a ship in international waters. But when they arrived, the ship was empty. No crew, no name, just a spray-painted phrase on the deck. The system rots from the inside. Inside the ship's command room, another note. Taped to a monitor. I was a garbage man. I took out more than trash. I took out monsters. The room had been booby-trapped, but not with explosives. With truth. Lining the walls, printouts, emails, blueprints, all showing how covert groups had begun embedding command servers inside waste shipments to bypass detection. A method so obscure, no one thought to look there. No one except him. Tyrone Ellis, if still alive, wasn't just exposing corruption. He was rewriting the rules of detection and forcing the world to ask, what are we really throwing away? Because some of it fights back, and some of it learns. And now, the garbage man had triggered a global cleanup, whether the world was ready or not. June 2025, Berlin. At a global tech security conference, delegates gathered to discuss AI, weaponization, and black market surveillance. But halfway through the keynote, the presentation systems crashed. The screens went black. Then flashed a single message. Who watches the trash? Panic spread. Security scrambled. But within minutes, every delegate received the same anonymous file drop. No sender, no metadata, just a folder named Payloads Buried. Inside were 76 documents. All real, all damning. Internal memos, customs clearance hacks, satellite blueprints for underground server farms disguised as recycling depots. Each document tied to a multinational firm, most of them untouchable. At the center of the leak, a recurring alias in the file path history. TR, Ellis _103. Tyrone had just gone global. Again, and this time, the targets were corporations funding the networks he once cleaned up after. The file showed how some waste management contracts were being used to smuggle not just drugs or hardware, but synthetic DNA, cloned ID profiles, even microlabs for data manipulation. Tyrone had cracked it. He wasn't chasing money anymore. He was exposing infrastructure. Weaponized infrastructure. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, authorities intercepted a shipment of compressed metal blocks. On the surface, junk, but under infrared, etched circuits. The blocks were motherboards, folded and frozen in metal to avoid scans. One block contained traces of Tyrone's earlier tech, a modified data signature. He wasn't hiding anymore. He was sending messages. Then came the footage. A drone feed, leaked by anonymous hackers, showing a figure in a dark coat boarding a freight train in Romania. Same limp, same build, a heavy case in his hand. The footage zoomed in just as he glanced up at the drone and smiled. It was brief, but the expression was clear. He knew they were watching, and he didn't care. That train disappeared into a tunnel never registered on public maps. 5 hours later, a power grid in southern Ukraine went dark. Not from an attack, but from a shutdown triggered by one of Tyrone's modified chips. The message left behind: you buried control in garbage. I buried your garbage in silence. Analysts realized something terrifying. Tyrone wasn't just tracking shipments. He was disabling systems built on them. Quietly, precisely, and always with proof. Each takedown came with receipts, corruption trails, bribes, fake waste contracts, shell company accounts routed through trash disposal bills. It all led back to one central network, an invisible empire built on the myth that garbage doesn't matter. And Tyrone Ellis was tearing it apart. But not everyone wanted that. In October, an Interpol red notice was leaked targeting Tyrone. Not for theft, not for smuggling, but for destabilizing global commerce. They had turned the tables. The garbage man was now the villain, or so they said. But on the same day the notice was issued, 5 more waste containers were intercepted in different ports: Cape Town, Jakarta, Vancouver, Mumbai, and Miami. Each one contained a hidden thumb drive, and each drive contained the same thing: a digital voice recording. Tyrone's voice. Calm, controlled. He said, "If I'm the villain, then ask who built the world out of rot. I didn't smuggle lies into landfills. I just pulled them back out." The files were sent to over 1,000 independent journalists. Half went public. The rest disappeared. Their outlets shut down. Websites erased. Funding pulled. Tyrone wasn't just fighting traffickers or cartels anymore. He was fighting silence. Manufactured silence. And the more he exposed, the more they erased. By November, he had become a myth. Schools were warned not to mention him. News anchors used code words. Algorithms scrubbed search results. But still his signal leaked through. In a city square in Warsaw, a projector hijacked a public display. It showed a map, glowing points across the globe. All waste facilities, all compromised. Then it zoomed in. Nigeria, Port Harcourt, a waste barge about to dock. The message: inside bio-command drives. You have 4 hours. Officials scrambled, intercepted the barge, found the drives. All real, all active. And with them, another handwritten note. This isn't revenge. It's recycling. You threw away accountability. I'm handing it back. By now, the world was listening, but also hunting. Tyrone Ellis had made himself the most dangerous whistleblower alive, and he was still on the move. Only one problem: he was running out of places to hide. Or maybe that's exactly what he wanted. August 2025. A storm swept the northern coast of Morocco. High waves, interrupted signals. But in the port city of Tangier, beneath the chaos, something else arrived quietly. A private courier delivered a sealed envelope to a small NGO that tracked e-waste dumping. No return address, just a fingerprint in ash on the seal. Inside, one memory card, and a note that read, "This is the last load. Process it properly." The files? A full ledger. Names, contracts, coordinates, dates. Over 20 years of bribes and illegal shipments buried beneath recycling reports. It was everything. Proof that nations weren't just ignoring illegal waste. They were profiting from it. The kind of proof that couldn't be refuted. The kind that couldn't be hidden. And at the end of the ledger, buried in metadata, was a message. One line, from Tyrone. It said, "Every empire builds its throne on trash. But no throne stands forever." That was the last confirmed trace of him. No sightings, no signals, nothing. But weeks later, whispers began. In Dakar, someone intercepted a drone shipment meant for tracking rogue waste containers. The signal had been rerouted mid-air by someone using the exact same encryption Tyrone had pioneered. In Colombia, a drug cartel leader suddenly vanished. His compound had been breached, not by law enforcement, but by unknown actors who left behind a single photo, a garbage truck on fire with the words "debt collected" carved into the side. Then, in northern Canada, at a remote mining site, now shut down after environmental violations, officials found a buried laptop in a protective casing. Its battery was long dead. But carved into the lid were 4 words: recycle truth. Burn rot. That phrase began popping up in underground forums, anonymous channels, sticker tags in cities from Berlin to Lagos. People called it the Ellis Echo, a resistance, a movement, built not on violence, but on exposure, a war against silence. And it grew, because Tyrone had done more than run, more than steal. He had told a story that proved truth could be buried like trash and dug up like treasure. The last photo anyone believes might show him came from a satellite glitch over Iceland. A lone figure, walking across the Black Coast near a geothermal dump. No face, just the silhouette, long coat, slight limp, and behind him, an open case, releasing what looked like thousands of digital butterflies into the sky. Code, data, evidence, carried by the wind. And as the photo fades into pixel static, analysts still argue if it's real. If he's real. But one thing's certain, every time a new dump is exposed, every time a corrupt shipment is stopped, every time a system fails to hide what it tried to erase, people say the same thing. The garbage man came back. Maybe he never left. Maybe Tyrone Ellis wasn't just one man anymore. Maybe he's a code, a shadow, a virus in the system, a reminder that the things we throw away don't stay gone. They just wait. And when the world forgets, the garbage remembers. This is Dark Case Files. Subscribe for more twisted true crime you've never heard before.